Oh, hey, we're live.
Hey, we're live.
We're live. All right, guys, welcome to episode 103 of the Drag Drive Repeat show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight, I say it all the time, another great show. Mr. Derek Putnam is on tonight to talk about Sick the Magazine events. We're going to talk about Cleetus's Cheap RV Challenge. It kind of has my brain turning. We add two new events to the 2025 Drag and Drive event list, and we hint at the Stark family. They've been building a new drag and drive slash race car, kind of under the radar. This is going to be a neat deal. You guys are going to love it. Mr. Eric White, please hit the intro video. Let's do this.
All right, let's go.
Man, I'm excited about tonight's show. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to have a good time. Guys, do what I just did. Please go in, hit that share button, get this thing rolling, get some folks in here, get some comments blasting off. If you don't know who I am Mike Narks. I'm the host of the Drag Drive Repeat show and the Drag Drive Repeat news, which happens on Saturday mornings. And my right hand man, my Mr. Eric White, my Mr. Right hand, I don't, whatever. He's sitting over here. And tell us what you got going on, man. You're busy. You're busy.
I am Eric White, co-host of both the show and the news. Do all kinds of artwork, intro videos like the one you just saw, artwork for the circuit, and many other events as well in the community. Photography. I am a published photographer. I still think that's crazy to say, but I love it. This is everything that I do. Everything I tell people all the time. Like I have one hobby and it's cars, and
Yeah.
this is it.
Yep, we went to a baseball game last night. My daughter sung, kind of with her school and the opening ceremonies or whatever. And we're sitting there, and these dudes are talking about like the Dodgers and all this. I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't even understand what you're talking about. They're talking about like, uh, it was a pinch hitter or something. They were all jazzed up about this guy from the Dodgers that came down to, I guess we're minor league or AAA or whatever, and he's playing tonight on our field, and everybody was going crazy. When we left in the sixth inning, there were a line of people outside waiting for that dude to leave so they could get his autograph.
Holy cow.
Mike, that's what's great about car stuff. Think about that. How many times have you walked up to a pit of one of the famous guys and there's 10 people there because you timed it right and you can get a signature just by hollering at them or saying hey or whatever? It's so
Yeah.
cool, man. The car industry is the best. Well, y'all listen, speaking of that, race car friends, man, that's all race car guys, like at the professional level down to grassroots, they're all race car friends, man. It's whenever they see other race car friends, they say hi, they come over, they want to talk. And I think cars are the language of people. If somebody has a Lambo, they can appreciate somebody's hot rod. If somebody has a hot rod, they can appreciate that Lambo a lot of times. And those guys end up hanging out, and it's a lot of fun. So, guys, thank you for being our race car friends. We appreciate you. And thank you to our sponsors for allowing us to do this, man. It's awesome. Summit Racing, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, who is a great outlet for us to introduce drag and drive to more people, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds, who created an entire segment for drag and drive cars. So super cool. I want to say thank you to those guys as well. and then Summit being our title sponsor for the news, the show, and the Circuit 2025. Do a quick ad read, and then we're going to talk about something neat that they just had to come up on their On All Cylinders podcast. Summit Racing's speed legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions, with this guy right here on the cover of the most recent big book. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, or on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like this one. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. And speaking of the On All Cylinders podcast, I listened to this one this morning. It is Jamie Meyer. I don't know if you guys will remember that name. He used to be kind of the head of SEMA and PRI and all that kind of stuff. So he was on this morning. He's part of the High Performance Expo now. This was a great listen. He talked about, some of his history, kind of how it worked out that he is now involved in this. And Charlotte, North Carolina, June 3rd through 5th. This seems like a fun one in the future. Now, obviously that timing is not good for us because we're going to be at Mega Week doing all that kind of stuff, but another automotive expo with people like Jamie Meyer tied to it it's going to be big. Now, this is the first year they've done it. So I'm sure, I looked at the floor plan to see who all was going to be there. There's several of our sponsors are going to be there, and a lot more, I'm sure, as they get closer, we'll begin to fill those spots. This is neat. It's a good time of year. June is going to be tough for us to show up at places like that because the first week of June is typically covered with some kind of drag and drive. But it's always good for the community to have another option, and especially being in North Carolina. You have SEMA in Vegas, you have PRI in Indy, and now you'll have the High Performance Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina in June. So it kind of splits the year up. If you have something, think about this. If you had a new car to debut, you would have to wait to SEMA or PRI to do it. Well, now you're going to have another opportunity to do that here at the High Performance Expo in Charlotte. So pretty cool, man. It's a great interview. The interviewer did great. The interviewee did great. It was really a good listen.
We got emails flying about PRI already, man. That's wild.
Dude,
PRI planning is underway.
Yeah. I guess we got to sign up for our booth tomorrow or Friday. One of those 2 days, I got to get that submitted. I think it's the 25th is the deadline. And y'all, we got something real fun planned. So we're working on something really cool on the Paul Snyder live calls tonight. No, we have Derek Putnam on. He's live with us. Paul ain't even done a drag and drive, so he don't even know what you'd be talking about on here anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys haven't got one of these in the mail, you can go online to Summit's website and you can request a catalog big book. So not just because my photos are in the book. Okay, that's a plus for sure. But these are race car friends, Dave Hart on the cover. Like, this is a drag and drive edition of Summit Racing catalog. So go online, request one of these. It'll get sent to your house. It's just a awesome thing, I would say, to collect because we've been doing this for a while, and this is, their drag and drive edition catalog, as Tommy said. So,
that's right. Plus, over here saying we got ours today.
Yep. And plus, my name's in there 3 times, which I'm telling you is never going to get old. It's the coolest thing. Right behind this green screen, I have it hanging on the wall even. So
that's awesome. That is so cool, man. I'm so excited for you, and that's a big deal. You know what I mean? And what I'm hoping is that people in there seeing that Eric White of Drag Driver Pete is going to lead them over here so we can finish up the stupid last 318 followers, bro. Ah! Oh man. As a person that lives their life on social media, trying to grow a brand, it's not a good idea to check numbers twice a day.
No, not at all.
It's frustrating, very frustrating, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So the good thing is we are down. We gained almost 30 from the original post on the 21st. So in 2 days, we gained 30 folks. It's not great numbers to write home to my mom about, but we're going to take it because it gets us closer. 318 folks remaining to get to 100,000 total followers. We're like right there. We're right there, so close. So
Look, it's like looking at your 401k. You just can't do it.
yeah, don't even do it. It's not a good idea to do that. So, Paul, if you're calling me, quit. All right, man. Lead us into some Driven Racing Oil event updates.
All right. Well, listen, my wife is probably listening while she's out running her errands, and she told me I sound like a robot when I read these ad reads. So,
Well, hang on though. I heard her in the background, and she said it almost verbatim. So
I
it's
hope
more.
it didn't sound like that. All right. Driven Racing Oil is the performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application, whether you're launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off road and circle track, or pushing limits in top field drag boats and demo derbies. Winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cling and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. This is crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil, then enhanced with state of the art additive packages. GP1 offers the best in protection and performance. So you guys know the deal. DrivenRacingOil.com, where you can go pick up your oil or any merch, and Driven Racing Oil on Facebook and Instagram. Go check them out.
Yeah, crazy stuff going on over there. They have been posting a ton of videos, so big shout out to Bill and the team over there. I love seeing all that stuff. They've got a new Cafe Racer motorcycle project. They've been talking about Volkswagen stuff, air cooled stuff. It's really been fun to watch all the Driven Racing Oil stuff. But dude, Mr. Adam Dory and Mr. Travis D Turtle is on. They're on live right now while we're on live right now. And we always talk about as events overlap, drag and drive events overlap, it's good for the community. Well, it's great for us tonight because what I would like to know is if somebody is switching back and forth between Adam and us, or if they're really talented and they're watching both at the same time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're watching us on their phone and Adam on the TV, or vice versa. So big shout out to Adam and Travis over there. That'll be a great one. If you guys are going to stay here, make sure you listen to that one after we are done here, because Adam does a great job interviewing, and Travis has a ton of stories. I think he's had this is an exaggeration, but I think he's had 37 combos in that truck. So
If
now he's doing big block and whatever. So it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, if anybody's watching both, send us a picture.
Yeah.
Send us a picture of both of our lives going at the same time. Definitely, definitely want to see that.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, one of the new events, Paul Snyder here saying, nope, he's watching just Adam. Well, we know that's a lie. 2 new Australian drag and drive events on the list for this year. All Stars Drag and Drive, which is one I want to say big shout out to Dan Case, who sent me over today. I don't know how I missed this one. They've done a heck of a good job of promoting it, probably within Australia, but it's made its way over here to the U.S. It's a radial prep drag and drive at Willowbank, July 10th through 13th. And then, of course, the big granddaddy of them all, going to have Street Machine Drag Challenge in Australia. This is this is one that's been going on for like 10, 12 years. Long time event here, and excited to see it out. And this post was made just a couple days ago, and big shout out to Nick Scaraju, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. He actually sent this over to me as well to make sure that I had it on the list. So great to talk to you, Nick, and glad to see this. So excited. 2 more. We're going to talk about numbers per continent, I guess, per country here just as we finish the event stuff. So
yeah, and then starting tomorrow is the Carolina Drag Cruise. So that's super exciting. April 24th through 27th, again starting tomorrow. And on Saturday, did you see this? Racers are going to have to drive a 150-mile route. How cool is that?
Dude, it's pretty neat. So the way he sets it up is like basically it's kind of like the King of the Open Road format, in the sense that no, it's not either, because you actually race Thursday and Friday. They're doing their tech party right now. So maybe we'll get lucky enough and have some of those Carolina drag cruisers talk to us while they're out there doing their tech pre-party, and then they race Thursday and Friday. But you don't have to drive your car between tracks. It's only 40 miles difference, so don't be a weakling and just drive your car. Right, it's 40 miles, but you can trailer it if you want to. And then Saturday you do have to make the big drive, and then Sunday they come back for finals.
Yeah.
Final day of passes. They do averages and things like that, so that's why it's caught up in our world here.
I'm kind of interested in that big tire, big wheel in the center there. We haven't
It
seen
looks
too
so
many of
good.
those on Dragon drives.
No. Did you see the who has the blue and silver S10 that just put it on like a set of 26s or something like that? It's a real fast little regular cab, first gen S10, and they put it on a set of 26s, and they were out doing some testing the other day. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
So it's coming. Yeah, everybody's wanting more. They're wanting it. They're wanting to make it harder. They want more challenge. That's definitely a challenge there. Yeah,
Yeah, and then next up we've got the Edgewaters Woodstock and Roll event with the plates in 28. So if you'll remember, plates in 28s happened. Was that earlier this year or last year? I can't even remember now.
yeah, late last year.
Late last year. So that was put on by Old Man's Garage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So again, this one is April 26th and 27th. So coming up here in just a few days this weekend. They've got music, racing, and a pretty sick cruise day. So this seems like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is a good one. There's going to be a lot of small tire kind of cars there. Those guys bring out some real race cars. But man, last year's event looked like it was a ton of fun. And based on some schedule I saw, I think it was Edgewater's schedule. There's another plates and 28s in October as well.
Okay, that I think that was around when they had it last year, wasn't it?
Hmm. So this is a pretty neat deal to have this Woodstock and roll, and man, bring it on. More dragon drives, more
Right.
cool street cars out and about doing streetcar things. And then Roadrunner Rally we talked about on Saturday. They opened registration on Sunday, and man, this one here, I think it's going to be good. West Abilene, it's like West Texas. You got Alien City in there. I think there's a lot on this. I haven't seen much since then. Hey, Mr. David, haven't seen much since then, but I know that Patrick Garrett is working and Limpy's involved in this, so that'll be a good race, and kind of some heads up drag racing is going to ensue from that as well.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it'll be cool. And that picture on the left just cracks me up every time I see it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, great job on the artwork there for sure. And I like the logo, man. It's super cool looking.
Yeah. So let's talk about these the number of events that you were mentioning. So for this year, we've got 30 in the US, which is probably not too much of a surprise to anybody, right?
Yep.
But where the surprise comes in is Australia has 7 events this year.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think that there's that many events in that country, and I really think we'll probably end up with 9 by the end of the year, which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, and that's got all Road Trip Drag Challenge is doing 3. We've got Central Victorian Dragon Drive doing 2. That's 5, and then you have Street Machine Drag Challenge and the new All Stars Dragon Drive. So 7 events. I mean, dude, that's more than anywhere in the world had in like 2019.
Right, right, which wasn't that long ago. And
Yeah,
then, of course, Canada has 4 events this year. So
yeah,
that puts us up to a grand total as of right now of 46 events for the year.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy because I mean, obviously there's some sprinkled in Sweden and the UK and all that kind of stuff. What's wild is we haven't seen any in Central America, South America, and maybe they're down there. We just don't know about it. You know,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
yeah,
Definitely would be interesting to see where else has is having events that we haven't seen yet.
yeah.
But
All right.
for the full list of events for anybody that's looking, it's dragdriverepeat.com/event list 2025, or just head over to Drag Drive Repeat, click on the link up at the top right hand corner, and you can get to all of the events that are going on this year.
Yeah, I'm excited. Bunch of stuff going on. Again, thanks to Driven Racing Oil for the support for the event updates. Dude, let's get cranking because we've got Derek Putnam on here in about 15 minutes. J-Wire Solutions, expert car and marine wiring solutions you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, race car, or drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products make your driving experience better, like the blinker module or the Holly tray that I should have put in here. Man, this thing is going to be cool. Not just for the guys running Holly stuff, but it's like a Holly high ram fits over. It's a storage tray, workstation, all this kind of stuff. Guys, just go over to jwiresolutions.com. Check it out. This is going to be a fun segment right here because we're talking about Mr. Cleeter McFarland and the Cheap RV Challenge. And I told you in the intro, guys, it's got my brain kicking around. This thing looks like a blast. It
Yes, it
looks like
does.
a ton of fun. I think one thing that is so fun about this that maybe people miss on, like, we talked about the cheap car challenge a couple weeks ago from Sick Week, all that stuff. These guys are buying something with just a few days notice. They
Right.
don't really have a ton of time to get in and find these things, right? So that kind of makes it fun. So that got our brain kicking around. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but kind of here's some notes that I thought were really funny from the first video. Basically, LS George was talking about. He goes, man. So basically, what we've got, if they didn't have the AC working, he's like, so we've got a tent with a big block. I thought that was a hilarious. That needs to be a new shirt. Yeah, obviously RV cam. Why wouldn't you say RV cam if you're driving RVs around? And then, of course, everybody knows now that the Dega Bega sounds like a ton of fun. But Mr. Sam, uh, Greg Biffle's working on some wiring in there. And Greg goes, you know what we should invest in? And I'm telling, without missing a beat, Mr. Sam goes, fire insurance, fire extinguisher, fire insurance, for sure. Without missing a beat, dude. It was awesome. It was pretty funny. But this has me thinking, man. Do we do
Yeah,
something like this?
I don't know. Like you said, it's we talked about it with the cheap car challenge. This is taking some of the seriousness out of it and putting more fun into it. And then, I mean, we always talk about traveling and how we have to get hotel rooms and everything. So, I mean, if we can travel, we can have a place to sleep, we can have a podcast studio, we can do whatever we want. Why not?
Right. So you and I were messaging back and forth, and I want to see. Obviously, we're gonna got to find out what they're gonna do with these, but I hope they don't destroy them. I almost want to see if we can buy one. Like, can we get them their 5 grand back, and have some fun with it? If we can't, should we do this for Rocky Mountain Race Week, Mega Week, and or Drag Week, um, or Six Summer? The problem is I'm not going to be on Six Summer, but Eric may not be on Mega Week either. So it's going to be tough. But this is really a fun challenge. I think it would be awesome for us to show up in something. I mean, obviously, my brain instantly goes to something like what Cleetus ended up with. The others are, I mean, they're just regular RVs, right? They look like late model RVs, but they get the job done, right? But I want something fun. So of course I
Something we can
started.
spray paint.
Oh, for sure, 100%. And so I start looking. I'm like, man, should we do? What would I do if we were going to put something together, right? So of course you jump on Marketplace. I find these right out of the gate. The one on the right is talking to me.
Yes.
Talk. If that Winnebago doesn't just make your heart sing, there's something wrong with it. We had Dane Thompson on from Burn Down. He's got one very, very similar to this. And if it wasn't in California, I probably would have tried to own it at some point. But man, that's too far. So our thought is show up, sledgehammers, sawzalls, gut the interior, throw 2 Goodwill couches in that thing, and podcast for the entire week.
I'm
Like,
with
how much fun would that be?
I'm
Yeah.
with Rich here. That one on the right is that one is it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's super cool. Plus, like, if we end up with something really cool and fun, or interesting, right? Not necessarily fun, but interesting, it's something that I would keep. Right. If we
Right.
end up with something that's more on the left of this picture, so sorry for the podcast folks, just jump over to YouTube. It's way cooler. Um, if we end up with something on the left, I'm probably just going to use it for the challenge, right? We're just going to use it for that week, and then we'll sell it or whatever. But the one on the left, $700.
What?
And
Really?
yeah, and it says it runs and drives. But
where is that?
yeah, it's somewhere close to me here. So, sorry, it's $800. One on the left's $800. Listen to the write up though. It says good running, low miles, camper, needs some work on interior. All electric works, has no fridge, needs work. Will give Bill a sell. Would recommend hauling it. Wait, what? I thought you said it runs and drives.
Yeah,
Good running, low miles. Bring a trailer.
listen, I have LS engines sitting around.
Dude,
If
that's
it don't run, we can throw an LS in it.
but you can't do that in 2 days.
Correct.
That's the struggle, right? So do you take something that's fun, like the one on the right, that is so the one on the left's $800. The one on the right is $5,200. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Sorry,
So
I was
it's a
mixed up there.
yeah, it's a 72 Winnebago. 318 does turn over and will start, but it needs a new gas tank. So does that mean I can bring a 5-gallon bucket with a fuel pump in it and drive? You know,
Maybe.
right? Who knows? I don't know, but it's in Fort Worth, Texas. So it's a little bit of a gamble. Like, are you gonna fly down there and pick that thing up and drive it home? Right?
My
Who knows?
dad's got a mini fridge.
Oh yeah, I'm in. I don't need, to be honest, all I care is about cold AC because I want that thing to be like 65 degrees in that deal. And if we had time, dude, I'd just throw a mini split in it and we just crank the AC all the way down as low as it'd go for the week, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't care about working AC per se
Yeah,
that way, but yeah, mini split and I
yeah,
mean
right.
we'll throw a fuel cell on wherever we need to get that thing going.
Yeah, I think we can steal a boat fuel cell from some boat in the
Hey,
yard somewhere, right?
hey, you know
Uh,
that gas tank that I was pulling all that foam out of that everybody on the internet said was fake? That's still in the garage.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just use that one. So listen, I know that's 5 grand, 5,200, right? So I was like, man, now I'm thinking, can you do something for 5 grand? Because I would take that and I would build the inside out,
Oh
right?
yeah,
That's
that would
something
be
I would
sweet.
keep, and if the 318 isn't enough for it, I'd put a LS in it and put a blower on it and all that kind of stuff. Or this one right here, $4,500. This is cream of the crop right here. Says was our traveling home for 2 years. Selling because we got pregnant and bought a house. So they started up and drive around town often. Runs and drives, clean title, 98,000 miles, frame in great shape. It's got a big block Ford, new timing chain, new accelerator pump in the carburetor, new water pump, battery, tires, sending unit, generator works, 60-gallon water bladder. Doesn't have a toilet in it, which is fine because, we
We're
can pee
guys.
wherever we're at. Yeah. Doesn't have driver cab AC, but maybe it has AC somewhere else. I don't know. I don't see AC anywhere else, and no hot water heater, and that's fine because I'm not taking a shower in there anyways. Yeah, and no black water tank, so no pee pee in there, please.
Yeah. So
So
my mind says this is a better deal, but
yeah,
my heart says that Winnebago is
oh
the
man,
one.
right. So that is the struggle. That's the struggle I have is because I don't want to own this one
No.
for 10 years and completely build the inside into a rolling podcast studio to drive coast to coast. But that Winnebago, I would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, yeah. So listen, we're open to ideas. We're talking about things here. I'm telling you, I think I want to put some money with it and see what we can crowd fund over a few weeks. We'll work on how this works, and then you and I just end up somewhere, and we got to buy an RV and cruise it. So, you know, something like that could be kind of fun. So yeah, I highly recommend the new video from Cleetus. It is a blast.
Yeah.
The cheap RV challenge is a good one.
Yeah. That I haven't got through it yet, but just the thought of it and what I've seen, pictures like this, like
Yeah.
how how could you not have a smile like that while you're doing it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
just imagine
he's
you
the best thing to happen to NASCAR.
yeah, just imagine you and I in an American flag spray painted, like just cruising around. Like I'd be smiling all day.
Yeah. Yep. I'm in. Again, thanks to Jay Wire. Love Jay and the team over there. And man, they are just getting beat up right now, dude. They've got a ton of work in the shop, which is awesome for them. So
Yeah, for sure.
all right, let's get rolling here. Molly Motorsports. Actually, hang on. We don't have Derek yet, so we're going to skip Molly, and we'll bring him on when he does get a moment. Let's move to the Deechworks segment here and talk about some other drag and drive stuff. Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, pumps, modules, fuel rails, regulators, filters, lines, and fittings, all the stuff, and surge tanks, engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 2200 horsepower. Since its founding, Deechworks has been committed to delivering quality, innovation, and precision to the automotive performance industry. Every DW product line is built to maximize reliability and efficiency, ensuring optimal fueling solutions for racers, tuners, and performance enthusiasts worldwide. With a focus on engineering excellence and industry leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high performance fueling, and you get 10% off using DDR10 on that. So let's talk about fun stuff now. Y'all, did you hear that Pinks is back?
I did.
Lose the race, lose your ride.
Yes.
Yeah. This one's going to be a fun one. This is
Yes,
going to be
it
so.
is.
Team What No Way coming out of Canada got some hitters in it, dude. Did you see this list of people helping with the Sean's What No Way car?
Yes.
Yeah, Rich Guido, Kyle Williams, and Matt Blasco are all helping. How
How?
cool is that, dude? This thing's gonna be
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
fast.
Race car friends again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we talked about, I think I said on Saturday there were 16 cars. I was wrong. It's actually 8, which makes it even more. Man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. So we've got 8 car team or 8 cars. Winner take all. Winner takes all 18 or all 8 cars. It's going to be crazy. So this is going to be his car. It's a Pontiac GTO, and obviously with those guys helping. Kyle Williams has built several LS turbo cars. Rich Guido is really good with Pontiac stuff. I mean, obviously he makes 1500 on his car or more. And then Matt Blasco can tune anything in the world. So this is going to be really fun to watch. And then James Rowlett posted this up. Won't show us what it is. Said it's coming. It's going to show us soon. And he was on one of the original Pinks. And so it's going to be cool to see him back in action for that too.
Yeah.
And then I'll let you do this one here. These are our good friends with the cart.
Yep. Hidden Motorsports is also in, so it's going to be cool to see what they end up bringing as well. I don't know if they've announced that yet. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't seen it on their page, so maybe we'll just message Carl and ask him.
Yep. And then of course you've got our team always send it. Yeah, I get it. Fox bodies are the easiest thing to go fast in on a budget, but I bet we have a bag of tricks deep enough to slam them around this surface. So this is what always team always send it is going on here. This picture had me cracking up when I saw
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love this here. This is funny. And it's going to be interesting to see how many folks really come out with a Fox body. Is this going to be something that, folks don't go that route and they build other stuff? I mean, obviously we saw the What No Way guy. He's building the Pontiac GTO. I think Justin Nunley, you guys probably know him from TikTok and Facebook and all the stuff that has reels and shorts. He's on there all the time. I think he's building an S10 that's going to have a turbo setup in it. So this is going to be kind of fun to watch this all go down.
Oh, 100%. All I can think about is beer money, like he took that and then kept racing it, so what's going to come out of this? Is there going to be the next no prep car, or is somebody going to take one and do drag and drives with it? You're going to have 2 cars.
Yeah, they'll have the choice of 7 cars, 7 extra cars. Dean Anderson says he thinks it's a Buick, not a Pontiac. My fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be cool. I'm excited to watch that when this comes out.
Yeah, should be soon, and you can go watch it live and in person at Power Tubes Power Fest, June 13th through 15th, I think, at Rockingham. So another Rockingham, man. Rockingham is on point this year, doing all that fun stuff. So this should be a good one. Again, thanks to DeechWorks for their support, and again, DDR10 for 10% off anything you order at DeechWorks. Again, anything fuel. They are the official fuel delivery system of Drag Drive Repeat. So, Mark and the team over there, Krista and the team, they're awesome. They are helping us work through Eric's fuel system that he will need to go 10s in the Mustang and then eventually into 850. So we're talking about different build processes and plans and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a good time.
Yep. And if anybody, if Mark's watching or anything, I will call you. I've been super busy with work. Haven't had a chance to give you a call, but haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah. He knows. He knows that. He's built cars before. All right, man. Lead us into the Molly spot, and then we'll bring Mr. Derek Putnam on.
All right, racers and high performance enthusiasts, are you ready to start your next engine build? Because if so, there is no better time than right now to check out Molly Motorsports' new all-in-one power pack piston kits. They've got over 1,200 applications. The kits come with pistons, rings, wrist pins, and clips, all designed to work together. Molly Motorsports power pack piston kits take out all of the guesswork. You don't have to determine if a piston will need this ring to work with a certain cylinder size. They did all that engineering for you, so you can get to the part that matters the most, which is building a power plant that leads you to victory lane. So visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And for our podcast listeners, don't forget, Molly is spelled M-A-H-L-E.
Yep. Well, let's bring on Mr. Derek Putnam here. Sir, how are you this evening?
Hi, good to see you, Eric. Good to see you, Michael.
Man, I'm excited to have you on tonight. We probably should have done it last week because Sick at the Rock was wrapping up the weekend before that, and but hey, that's the way it works, man. We got you on tonight, and I'm excited, dude. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you put on a racer who did a good job. I mean, Chuck got a couple $1,000s. As a matter of fact, he left before he even got the third one. He was packed up and on his way home, and I called him up. I'm like, dude, you realize you left $1,000 sitting here? And he goes, no, I didn't. So yeah, it's always good to have racers on and talk about that. But I'm glad to be with you guys tonight. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be a good time. So for folks, we're going to be talking about Sick at the Rock, Sick on the Green, Sick Summer coming up, and then at the end of this little time we've got tonight, I want to talk about the Sick Spit and Shine or Spit and Show.
Yeah, Sick Spit Show and Shine and Sick Board and all that stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I want to talk about that and explain some how people that aren't necessarily racers can get involved with being around this kind of stuff, because if they're not racers once, they're going to be racers soon, I promise.
Yeah, and it's definitely interesting to see how that has played into people that are interested in watching, then become interested in being competitors. But like you said, we'll cover that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about. I mean, give us kind of the eye in the sky, Mr. Derek Putnam, on the mic rundown of Sick at the Rock.
So you mentioned Rockingham Dragway. I mean, Dan and his crew up there have done a great job with that facility over the last couple of years. I was there 2 years ago for the NMCA NMRA event that was there. So basically, in a nutshell, when NMCA NMRA folded last October, Tom basically floated the question out of, hey, there's some classes that aren't really run anywhere else. Would there be some interest in doing something? Now, I think that, there could be some timing. The fact that you get into March, April, May on the East Coast, there is so much stuff going on, even if it's not the same weekend. But it was in my opinion, with the weather forecast, it was a pretty good show to be able to bring something different than what we normally have for a drag and drive. Plus to have some people like Jim Treadle, Chuck Stefanski, some of these people that are used to being at a bigger drag and drive and have them be able to do one that's only 40 to 50 miles. And we had Tom Bailey there with 2 cars. We had Jeff Lutz bringing back Mad Max. So Mike Finnegan was there. So there was still a little bit of everything. So even though it wasn't a huge, overwhelming success that some people might see, I think for a first-time event with the weather forecast that we had that washed everything out on Friday, I think it was pretty solid.
Well, and Eric and I preach this all the time about regional events are the way. That is how we're going to bring people that are on the outside in, right? So I always think of like folks like Latifah Hughes. She wanted to do a drag and drive forever, right? then Sick Week became available. She's not typically racing in the, in January, February timeframe. So now it becomes available for her. Well, she was like an 860 champion, NMCA or NMRA, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And, that's a big deal for her to make that jump. Now, dude, you probably can't pull her out of a drag and drive.
Well, what's funny is that you talk about there is a completely different, in my opinion, atmosphere with a drag and drive versus a structured, scheduled 2 to 3 day event.
Yep.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that one is better than the other. I mean, there is something about I have 6 hours to make a run.
We know on this side, we know which ones are better.
Right. Right. But then try to fit in, not even taking something smaller like what we were doing, but then take, let's say 12 to 15 classes, which was your typical NMCA NMRA standalone event. If you had a double event, which was what Rockingham was last year, we basically took that date that was left. You're looking at 28 classes.
No,
that's
way.
A lot to try to get in twice, let alone 3 times in one day.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I mean, if we're going to bat with a smaller event, I think that's the kind of thing where Tom was happy with it. It showed some chance for growth. It brought people out that might not be able to, as you mentioned, I can't take off 7 days or 8 days to do a full deal, but give me 2 to 3 days. Sure, I'm on board. Let's give it a shot. And I think that some of those people are going to follow us to Sick on the Green, which happens next month, May 29th to 31st at Bowling Green. So, but without getting ahead of ourselves, again, Rockingham, combined the fact that they have brand new concrete that was poured there 2 years ago, the fact that they keep making improvements. There's events that keep coming to this racetrack. For example, they have their own Pro Mod series, which they blended together with our event for this past event that we just did. So I'll talk about that in a second. They completely remodeled their tower, redid the top floor of it. So it's basically a separate bar and kind of hangout area. That's going to get used for the Streetcar Bragging Rights event that's coming up next month that I'm announcing. We talk about the fact that they're upgrading some of their pit area stuff. They just poured concrete slab. I'm assuming it's for some kind of burnout pit or something similar based on where it is, but they just keep spending money redoing this place, and that's good. You combine that together with TVC, who's very well known, Total Venue Concepts, for prepping racetracks, and you get some pretty stellar stuff. Like, for example, Jeff Lutz is 975 to the 60-foot. Tom Bailey is 101, 1021, 1022 to the 60-foot in their cars.
Wow.
So those are the kind of things where, yes, might not have been, 300 cars, but the people that were there know that we rolled out the red carpet and did the best we could. So anyway.
Well, and I think just like you're saying, if you'd had 300 show up, that may be tough. It may be tough to do. I love the format of adding a drag and drive. Eric and I have talked about this on the show before. Everybody thinks we're saturated. We're not anywhere close because events can add a drag and drive class. I love what you guys did about the, quickest 4-door, quickest supercharged car, and you had 32 different categories of that. I think that was fun to watch. You know what I mean? That would give people something they feel like they could have a chance at something.
So for those of you that have never heard us mention this before, which I'd be surprised, when Narks and I get together, we talk about in advance what we want to get on because he and I both have the gift of gab, so to speak. So we want to make sure we cover some bases. And that is definitely one of the 3 things that I wanted to talk about was the 6 Streetcar Challenge. So if you look at what a traditional drag and drive is, even a smaller one where say, okay, we're going to do 2 racetracks or we're going to go back and forth to the same racetrack and you have to hand in, say, 2 slips at each time or something to make it have some kind of pull to it where it's not just a one-run hero thing. In Tom's case, he says, let's put a caveat out there to where not only we reward the people that have the quickest of whatever it is, but then let's make it to where you can stack them. So you don't feel like you're just isolating yourself like you would at a drag and drive in a class or a group and you can only go for one thing. Yep. But then also let's throw some stuff in there for people to get after that aren't the quickest. Like, for example, we had most consistent. We had best reaction time. We had best for a young gun between ages of 16 and 23, which unfortunately nobody showed up for. So yeah, so and we even put the caveat in there of to prevent somebody from puppy kicking, we put the caveat in there of it has to be titled in your name. So somebody doesn't go grab their dad's, low 5-second, 1/8 mile, 7-second quarter mile car and collects $1,000 and it's not really their car. Now, granted, again, it's something where we made some changes along the way to see how things would work. We knew that with events before and after ours, within literally like a week or two, it possibly could make it where we weren't going to have as big of a turnout. So that's the kind of thing where we're going to build from that. And we did have some people that also told us we can't make it to Rockingham, but we're going to be at Bowling Green. So it'll be interesting to see how the results and what people talked about. And then, we have another chance. And then that's the other thing that Tom talked about is we have 3 other events that are all sold out. The chance of you getting off the wait list is there, but we've talked about this last year. It's not as easy as it was the first year we did Sick Summer or the first year we did Sick Week. So if you want to come out and you want to be part of it, now's the time to do it. And you won't have to sacrifice so much time to do so.
Yep. Well, plus like you guys are taking the top 3 or the 3 quickest or whatever from Sick on the Green to allow
early entry for Sick Week next year.
Sick Week. So that's huge, man. It's huge.
Yep. And what Tom did was, because the 3 quickest people based on their averages already had early entry from participating in this past year, what he did was he just moved the number down. So we went to the 3 people underneath that. And the cool thing is that we got 3 cars that I don't think had finished Sick Week previously. I know Jim Treadle said he had the whole curse of Sick Summer and Sick Week. He didn't finish. Well, he did pretty solidly. We had Craig Douglas with a really nice twin turbo Dart swinger that was there. And unfortunately, he ended up putting the thing on almost the rear bumper on his first pass and had to weld it back together and then went 509 and 510. So he got in. And I'm trying to remember who our third one was, but it's the same thing. Like I said, we moved the number down. Eric Yost. Okay, so that explains. Eric didn't show up this year. He's been busy with all the stuff at Customs by Biggin, and he had the same problem. He was either wheeling in or basically blowing the tires off because he was trying to turn the front end down. And unfortunately, he ended up, what did he do? He puked a transmission line off of it on Saturday night that resulted in a 2-hour cleanup. No, Eric, I'm not shaming you. I'm just now. Here's the interesting thing about that. It's already in the 50s. It's cold. The TVC crew works on the racetrack for 2 hours. 2 of the 5 classes that we had finals left for just decided we're going to split the money and we're going to go back to the pit area. It's getting cold. Not necessarily dew because it wasn't getting dewy. The pro mods said, screw it, let's go. And the dude who won went 361 at 207. So don't tell me that you can't go down a 49-degree racetrack.
Man. Wow. That's awesome. And there's nothing. I mean, listen, I love drag and drive cars. Pro mods are pretty cool.
So that'll play into our second story. So the whole pro mod thing kind of spewed out of Dan's reaction of working with another racetrack where they do something called Big Dogs at Piedmont. And then he brought in his own to kind of work with them and run their own series called Pro Mods at the Rock. So originally they were supposed to have like 11 or 12 cars to qualify for an 8-car field. Well, because of us coming and the hype and everything, they ended up getting 18 cars. And in the two of those 18 cars were Tom Bailey, Jeff Lutz.
How cool, man.
So they had done their drive. They had already made a lap in streetcar trim. As far as I know, I don't think they changed anything else other than what they would normally change from street track. So and they managed to get themselves lined up with each other at the end of the first qualifying session. So there's already been not 16. I think they had a few that broke on the first session of 2. So they weren't in risk of getting bumped out, but they both qualified. But the fact that the 2 of them got against each other, Bailey had already gone 398, cutting it off early at 172. Lutz had not made a full pole. I think he was kind of checking some stuff because the rumor was, I didn't ask him, but this is what's been reported. He chucked a rod out of the car on Wednesday, yanked the engine out with a forklift, and went home and fixed it and brought it back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gosh.
So,
dude, those guys are wild.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is dedication there. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
So Tom lays down a 398 getting out of the gas early, then lays down a 389 at 203 with it tuned up a little bit more. So then the two of them get against each other. Lutz leaves about 100th of a second ahead of Tom, who's chasing him down. And Tom's 386 at 206 comes up short to Lutz's 384 at 196 side by side.
Dude, that's so cool.
And like I said, they both qualified for first round, where unfortunately Tom broke the rear end and did not end up winning. And Jeff Lutz actually ended up getting a win, and I think he came back for round 2, but I can't remember because at that point it all started to get a little confusing. But it was just the two of them qualifying side by side with 3.8-second runs while they're driving them up with no push carts, no support vehicles, nothing. It was just awesome. So.
Well, and I think that's got to draw some respect from the pro mod racers. Right now, those cars are tuned to go 360s and 70s and stuff like that, and they're as light as possible, whatever, you know what I mean, whatever their rules are. But
Tom said he was about 100 pounds heavy for his combination. Yeah. So can you imagine if we would have been able to somehow get 100 some odd pounds out of 6 seconds 2.0 and what it could have run? It could have gone in the 70s possibly.
Well, and see, that's what is so interesting to me. And that's why I think these, like putting the pro mods there, will really change because of, dude, you've seen the hype from other magazines talking about how important that run was and how, how that just worked well for what you guys were wanting to do. And I think it was really, really cool. I'd love to see some of that maybe at some of these Midwest races, these guys with, street cars that go real fast, showing up and showing out. So it'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about the whole Drag Illustrated deal and how they're really pushing the pro mod envelope, and the fact that there is the whole pro mod thing, in my opinion, the whole thing is just moving up exponentially. It doesn't matter what series you're running. I mean, even NHRA stuff has started to gain a decent amount of momentum lately. So it's good to see all of that moving up, because I feel like, yes, it's stretched. It's a little bit different, but still, the attractiveness of a car with doors can play into a lot more audience, I believe, than a Top Fuel dragster, Top Fuel funny car, pro stock car, etc. But again, I'm not saying for everybody, but I feel like there is more, like you said, there's crossover. You can get the same audience to come out and watch a small tire car that looks like a street car that would also enjoy watching a pro mod car.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it, like for what I would consider like diehard car guys, right? Like they're the regular fans want flames, they want blower cars, they want Top Fuel stuff, right? They want, nitro. But for guys like us that are like real dyed-in-the-wool car guys, we can see that progression from, I saw Tim Flanders make a comment in here, like you can take a guy that has a car, an 850 car, they upgrade it, well, they want to go a little faster. I mean, like look at what LaSala's done with his stuff. Like his next step would be like a traditional pro mod to go fast. You know, like we see that progression. It's very rare that you have an 850 guy suddenly turn over and go Top Fuel racing or funny car racing.
Yeah, I mean, not to veer off the subject too much, but like for example, LaSala running his car in limited drag radial during Duck's second race at Rockingham when everybody's pushing their stuff up, and he comes up with no push car, what have you, and he's still in street car trim, and it's a stock wheelbase design and what have you. That's going to get some people scratching their head and going, wait a minute. So again, I agree 100% with what Flanders said. I mean, there is definitely where you can see the progression, or at least you can envision the progression between the two, but either way. Yeah. Third thing I wanted to bring up that we had happen at Sick at the Rock that, in my opinion, is just, I've got to see where this is going. And it'll be interesting to see if he can make it to one or more events the rest of this year. But I don't know if you have spoken to Graham Hayes or not, but I did a story on him not too long ago because I was following up to find out what else he's got coming. But if you look at his progression in 2 events, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So quick recap, and I actually pulled my notes up just because I want to talk about this is how insanely quick this is. So Graham Hayes, guy that runs a 66 Chevy 2 Nova that's called Bad Draw. That's what's on the Virginia license plate on the front. The reason that I say that is because there were 2 race 66 Chevy 2s that were at Sick Week this year. So when you look at the fact that he ran nothing but nitrous for several years, he finished 4th in his class, which was Ultimate Iron, at Hot Rod Drag Week in 2024. He ran 7:18 at 190 best lap, 726 average. Not bad, but who do you finish behind? You finish behind Alex Taylor, Brian Goldstone, and I'm drawing a blank. The guy with the Ford Boss powered blue 69 Nova.
Steven Spies.
Speeds,
yeah.
Yeah. So he finishes behind those three people. So you're behind 3 turbocharged entries. So writing on the wall, maybe not. What he told me was to move his program to the next level, the nitrous motor that he would need would be 6 figures. He was able to buy a turbo motor, get the piping done and everything for about half the price of 6 figures. Now, I don't know if that's before or after selling some of his stuff or not, but when he showed up at Sick Week, he was parked not too far away from where Devin Vanderhoof was. And I walk over and I'm like, Devin, this almost looks like your car, except the turbos are in a different spot. And he goes, it basically is. He says he used my formula. So if you look at the fact that they started him and tuner Eric Gold, who's been very well noted in the heads-up industry. So him and Eric start out with a 688, and they just slowly start chipping away at it. And by the end of the week, they went 649 at 225. They averaged 664. So well over half a second quicker than they averaged just less than half a year ago. And he ends up winning Ultimate Iron and placing third in his class. If you look at the differences between the two runs, between what he ran there and then what they managed to put together. Now, granted, yes, it was 8th mile. It was prepped. They weren't driving 900 miles. So, yeah, you can throw all those excuses out there. But still, it bears to look at it. His best run at Sick Week was a 649 at 225. The 8th mile on that run was a 430 at 178 miles an hour. If you look at what he ran during his 2 runs at Rockingham, he went 419 at 183 with a 111 60 foot. Then he goes 413 at 184 with a 108 60 foot.
Dude.
Yeah.
He went 109 tripping it with like the middle of the car because it started to power wheelie on his last shot. And he just said, nah, we're abandoning the pass. So if you just do the math, that's going to take your 640 to about the edge of low 630, high 620. Now, granted, again, we're talking about real sticky racetrack, good prep. It's probably near or slightly below 0 DA when he's making these runs, but it was on a 275 radial. Can you imagine how much more he could have thrown at it if he would have had a 295 or a 315 on it, like what's legal in Ultimate?
Right.
So
it's that car in his program it took a huge. Well, I mean, you just said it's a huge leap forward. It's a huge leap forward. So cool, man.
Yep. Now
he deserves it, man. That dude, he works hard all the time, and that car is impressive.
Yeah, I got to spend a bunch of time talking to him one night in the parking lot at Drag Week last year, and he was talking about like different rule sets for nitrous cars versus turbo cars. All this was already going through his mind. He knew he was pretty much capped out with what he could do with his combo in the Ultimate Iron class. So, and then obviously shortly after that, he came out with the twin turbo motor.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I hate saying it because, there's people that are still very good in the nitrous game. Like we saw Lamar Swindell Jr.'s little small tire Camaro this year that went 750s. We've seen the Schroeder Ents team do very well with nitrous. So there are still people out there that make it work, but I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall. There are a few superchargers aside, but turbos just seem to be making strides. And I feel like that is even more of a reason why I'm behind Tom having a quickest nitrous award now that he's had at the last 2 races. He had it at our 666 event last October, and he also had one at Sick Week this year. So,
yeah. Well, and I think you guys you're doing a great job with that. You're making those, like if there's not money on the line, people want a trophy. You know what I mean? And they don't want a participation trophy. They want to earn it. And that's, man, I don't know how we combat turbo cars because we have that same problem in the Midwest with pro mods.
Yeah. I mean, there was a whole debate about the whole, I forget who it was, but it was on a podcast and somebody started talking about why doesn't the Midwest Series and PDRA combine together Pro Boost and Pro Nitrous because of Jim Halsey not running it. And it's like, well, you have to kind of look at how the balance works. And especially in heads up racing, you have to be willing to look at, okay, well, am I making the change to make the class faster, but also I'm signing the class's death certificate? Because if there's somebody that's willing to go and spend more money and blow more crap up than everybody else is, then yes, you're advancing the class forward.
Yep.
And you're making the cars closer in performances. But what do you lose doing that?
Yeah.
So again,
Midwest runs together. PDRA does do Pro Boost and Pro Nitrous.
They separate.
Without Jim Halsey's run, they could probably run together. The struggle for them is Jim Halsey is so fast, and they're trying to limit him on some of that with the newest PDRA nitrous rule, which doesn't make any sense to me. But when we were in Texas last week or week before last, whatever it was with Midwest, those guys, everybody except Sean ran a 361. Like the front runners in the class ran 361s. Well, that was a nitrous. It was a blower car, like a screw blow car, 2 screw blown cars, Keith's nitrous car, and then Sean came out and ran a 361 or a 2 low 62, and then came out later in the night, Q2, and ran a 359. So, the turbo cars are capable of so much more. And dude, I'm a turbo guy, 100%. Love it. 220 miles an hour in the 8th is insane. And the way a turbo comes on is so crazy. Aaron Wells in a screw blown car ran at 898, 60 foot. And, the turbo cars are like high 90s, low ones in the 60 foot. You know what I mean? So it's wild. The difference of screw blown and nitrous cars got to get out and get after it because those turbo cars are coming like freight trains.
Oh yeah, you have to have all of it in real quick, all the stages. But yeah. I mean,
I don't know. The only reason I love this conversation is because, historically speaking, drag and drive hasn't separated that. Like, hey, as an example, like so-and-so class has a 3,000 pound weight limit, but if you run nitrous, now you can weigh 2850. We haven't seen things like that, and we may in the future as things become more and more tight, more and more people come in, more and more budget comes into the drag and drive community. We may see some rulings like that on classes, but I'm just glad we're not there yet.
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of an aside of that, and I'll throw something at you here kind of as an honorable mention, because it's kind of like nitrous. It's me being around drag racing as long as I have a soft spot for seeing everything advance or everything at least continuing to move, even if budgetary wise or competitiveness wise it's not there. It's still cool to see all of it, as far as that goes. But one of the other things that we focused on at Sick at the Rock, that'll be at on the Green, is small tire pro stock. Now that grew out of what used to be called naturally aspirated 10.5 in the NMCA series. So real quick crash course on that. Stock bodied, stock wheelbase cars. You can run as much cubic inches as you want, big or small, but it's based on weight per cubic inch and, of course, the design of the engine. Some older cars get a little bit of a weight break, but it's naturally aspirated on a 10.5 inch wide tire. So you're combining together the riskiness of the 10.5 tire with a naturally aspirated combination, which we all know is very similar to nitrous. If you don't get it right out of the gate, your ET is going to suffer because you can't turn something else up in order to be able to get there. So for those guys to not have a series when the NMCA folds, and then they create their own, contact Tom and say, can we run at your events? And they're going to run a couple of times at Milan. I think they're running once at Cecil, and I believe there is a 6th event. I can't remember where it is, but they're going to join us for R2. That class basically carried their rules over pretty closely. And I love announcing NA stuff because it reminds me of my early days going to the Gator Nationals watching Comp Eliminator, where you hear stuff screaming at 10,000 RPM. So when you consider the fact that we have a little bit of everything there, and that class set not 1 but 2 records on that weekend, it's at the quickest pass ever that had been made under either rule set, which, again, they were both pretty close. The fact that it was done by Pontiac Power.
That's cool.
and a 72 Firebird, which is not exactly the most aerodynamic car.
Right.
So nobody in the class had ever been 7.5 second anything. Dwight Osmus, who's a former world champion, went 750s 4 times. The best was 754. That's pretty solid considering most people were in the 760s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing that got set, which is kind of interesting, it's a little aside, but a guy by the name of Carlos Sobrino, who used to run factory stock and Coyote stock, which is another class that we had, but I don't want to go off the path too much. He had been in an accident, ironically, at a no prep event a little while back, built a new car, came out with a naturally aspirated Coyote, stock displacement as far as I know, and was going after the quickest and fastest naturally aspirated Coyote. And he got it. He went 843, which is pretty quick.
Yeah, that's real quick. Wow.
So those were pretty interesting. But I will tell you, if you get a chance, go and find. I don't know if he recorded all of them, but you can go and find NC Pro Modder, who I know you know. He records a lot of the stuff. Yeah. He was out there to do the Pro Mod stuff. If you go and you listen to the NA stuff, it is insane listening to those cars touch 9,500 to 10,500 RPM on shifts. And most of these cars are running Liberty 4 and 5-speed transmissions to make them as most efficient as possible.
Wow. Man, that's wild.
Yep. So
okay.
Sick of the Rock, good deal.
Yep. Let's talk Sick on the Green. We may have to skip Sick Summer stuff.
Sure.
Because I just want to talk about the show and shine stuff.
Yep. So, Sick on the Green will be real easy. So basically, we started with 5 classes, plus we added in 6 streetcar challenge. There's an
Joe Haney here for the podcast listeners. It's too bad there isn't an orange helmet for having the most random driver facts. Yet.
Useless car trivia. The bad part is that if there was actually such a thing, I would probably lose mine to either Brian Loans or Brett Kepner.
Yeah.
Because both of those guys know way more than me. So all the classes that we had at Sick on the Rock, those are being carried over to Sick on the Green. And those include Small Tire Pro Stock, Coyote Stock, which is a sealed Coyote crate motor that runs like mid-9s with a stick shift and a sealed tune.
Wow.
Street Race 860 Index, which was based similarly off the 850 split that you and I have talked about with Street Race and 275 and Limited Street, depending on what series you run.
Mm-hmm.
Street Eliminator 1010, which is based on a 10 flat limitation because of cage, license, etc. Open Comp, Nostalgia Superstock, Nostalgia Muscle Car. Those are the classes that we ran at Sick at the Rock. We're carrying those over. Now, Sick Eliminator or Street Eliminator 1010 is a new one that we added, but it was run by NMCA and NMRA previously. That's a 410s Pro Tree, heads up, but there is an index. Now, the 2 classes that we have added that have started to get some attention, we added 2 this week. One, thanks to Tremec Transmissions, we added a stick class. Mm-hmm. They're throwing down $4,000, and we're gonna do some work on that to see what we can figure out as far as, do we want to make it two fields of 16 cars each? Do we want to make it where, say, it's quickest 8 and then the rest all run with some kind of a breakout so they don't sandbag, so it makes it a little bit more even. So that's the kind of thing that we just put that together. So we're gonna have that there, and we're going to have the very popular Little Gangsters 530 No Time class for $10,000 to win with no entry fee.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Little Gangsters is really cool because it's 530 no time slip.
No time slip, no scoreboard. So you have to know what your stuff is going to run, and with no scoreboard, you don't know if you went 200ths over, if you went a 10th over, if the other guy broke out by a bunch. It was very interesting to watch people drive the finish line during the live stream from the World Series of Pro Mod at Bradenton when they had a ton of people. Plus, Jimmy Dale has been on board with us since the beginning. He came to us at PRI and wanted to do it. He had a confliction during the Sick at the Rock date. He was good for Sick on the Green, so he is actually going to be at Sick on the Green, and he is trying to get his silver and black car magic back together. It is all in pieces. He just raffled off the motor, I think, like a week or 2 ago. So he's trying to get an all brand new combination together in time to be there. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, that's a great class. Tons of fun. Been messaging with him about doing that class as well at the Midwest Finals in October.
it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate the fact that somebody like him, who does a lot of grudge racing, a lot of no prep racing, a lot of first to the finish line, which means, as much as I hate to say it, money and wallets come into play.
Oh yeah. Yep.
If everybody just kind of at least got the idea that, listen, indexes are not a bad thing. If you can leave together, the feel of cars running side by side is still there. The excitement level is still there.
Yeah.
That's why this class is popular, is because people don't know who won based on what they ran. They just know they got a win light. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's super cool. I'm excited. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yep. So that is Sick on the Green. That's at Bowling Green. That's Beach Bend Raceway Park. The as far as I know, the only racetrack that has a wooden roller coaster when you come in the gate. So I have never been there when it's actually been opened. I was told that it will be open this time, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out with racing, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
And that's May 29th through 31st, right?
Correct. Same deal as what we did for Sick at the Rock. It's a 3-day format. Thursday is parking, and if you want to run testing, it's an extra $100. We do that for 3 sessions. Friday is qualifying, and based on what we get for car count, we should have 3 to 4 qualifying sessions. We run one more on Saturday morning, and then we go racing on Saturday afternoon. So it gives us Sunday as a possible rain date. It also gives you Sunday for a drive home day. And it seems like a lot of people like that format of give me my Sunday.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of times where those guys, it's easier to take off Thursday, Friday than it is to take off Monday. Howie Price here. Can we get an obese class? Yeah, there's heavyweight and then there's super heavyweight.
I was going to say, the funny part is that Howie's asking for that, but yet Sheila's Dream just got a whole bunch more power. So I don't really see where the request is coming from.
Yep, we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit too. That's a cool car. I love the twins on it now.
It does. It came out really nice. I look forward to seeing that car at Six Summer. Plus, the Price family, they're going to come with a wheel. And I kid you not, they literally had a wagon full of cheese last year.
That's awesome.
So, all right. So that takes care of Sick on the Green, because I know you mentioned that we're going a little bit over. So I've got some Six Summer notes. We can talk about Sick Ward and 6-bit Show and Shine. We can go over that a little bit, and then we can get to Six Summer if we have time afterwards. Whatever you want to do.
Yep. Let's do the 6-bit Show and Shine.
Okay. So the deal with that, it's been discussed a bunch, and I know some people don't like. I mean, we've seen it. Some people don't like reading stuff. So basically, here's the deal.
I mean, listen, I'll be honest. I didn't read anything. I thought, you're teaching me.
I write stuff. So anyway, so the deal is very similar to, I want to say they were doing it when we started Sick Week in 2022. So you'll have to forgive my lack of knowledge on this one. But I want to say Rocky Mountain Race Week and Hot Rod Drag Week had packages for people that wanted to participate in the event and be a part of it, but not race, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Either that or they came out with it right around the same time. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I think Rocky Mountain's done it since like 2016 or so, 2017. They've done it a long time. It's just always
second or third year. Okay.
Yeah, 10 or 12 cars or something. It was always real small, and then once it really kind of caught on, it's gotten way bigger.
Right. So when Tom initially did it, he wanted to do it where it was a really cool deal. You got to park inside the racetrack, and we're catering to you. We're going to feed you. We're going to give you beverages. You're going to get some special stuff that you can't buy anywhere else. You can't get anywhere else. That's what we did for about the first year and a half. And then we started getting some feedback, and people were like, some people liked it, some people didn't because it was expensive. And it's like, we're adding more steps to this to make this happen for you. We have to hire additional people. This stuff doesn't just magically happen. Well, just based on feedback, Tom went, okay, well, maybe we need levels of this. So what he did is we pulled Sick Ward back to where it has 2 different levels. So now if you want to join us and you want to do, say, the entire week, Sick Ward in its basic form is a discounted multi-day spectator ticket, meaning it doesn't come with anything for special parking, but you are going to, A, save a decent amount of money off buying a spectator ticket every single day that you go to each track we visit. 2, you will get a Sick Ward banner that you can't buy. And 3, you will get a participant shirt similar to what I'm wearing, which I bought off a spectator. No, I'm just kidding. I knew somebody who knew somebody. And you get that as well. So you save some money and you get to participate for the entire week. Now, again, people always ask, yes, you can drive the route, you can go to the checkpoints, you can interact with people, but we just want to make sure that everybody kind of plays fair by the rules, what have you. But that's the basic form. And it seems like when we did that, a lot more people got into it. It kind of encouraged people to do the whole week without spending the higher price that we did when it was all inclusive. Yeah. Now, if you want to do something beyond that, because we had people, as soon as we whittled it down, a lot of people were like, but I have a really nice car and I want to be there. Okay, well, we'll still park people inside. We'll still have a show and shine. We'll still have something that's a little more involved. So what Tom did is he took our detailer called 6-Bit and he called it the 6-Bit Show and Shine. So what you do is you submit your vehicle and we'll take a look at it. And if it's something that we think fits in with what we're trying to do, and we're not really all that critical of those kind of things, we want something where it's not like everybody's bringing in their stock, what have you. It needs to be something that at least appeals in some way, shape, or form. Now, I'm not saying everything needs to be blinged and polished and what have you. We have some rat rods. We have some patina cars and trucks. Everything is welcome to apply, but depending on the event and where we're going, there might be limited space. So that's how we separated the two tiers. So now we have Sick Ward, which it is in its basic form. Once you buy that ticket, if you want to get into 6-Bit Show and Shine, then you can apply for it by sending me your photos of your vehicle, tell me what the deal is and what event you want to attend, and we'll give you a code if we think it's something that we're going to be able to use, and you can apply, and it's an extra $100 and you're in.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I like this. And I want to say thanks I should have known that, but
okay.
Yeah,
that's the reason Tom keeps me on staff, or at least I want to lie and tell myself that's the reason he keeps me on staff, is because I can like that.
Well, and
so, and then what we did also was for our 2 standalone events that we're doing, we added them.
Go ahead.
What's that?
No, I'll just say go ahead.
So for our 2 standalone events, for Sick at the Rock and Sick on the Green, we did the same thing. We put together a smaller show and shine inside the event venue. Now, it was a last-minute addition for Sick at the Rock, so we only got, I want to say, a couple dozen people. Plus, again, the forecast was kind of Bowling Green, I think we'll probably see a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so, especially in that part of the country. It's end of May. Weather's going to be much more predictable than it is in April. And again, anytime you can bring in more people, show them how cool it is, then they interact, because that's one thing Eric and I talk about again all the time. It's hard, like at an NHRA event or some huge drag race, it's hard to go up to a drag racer and talk about their car. Out of like, you don't want to get in their way. They're inaccessible. They seem mean, all that kind of stuff. But we all know drag and drive guys, all we want to do is walk around and talk. So if people are there, they sign up for the show and shine deal and they park within the group. Now they're welcomed in. It's like you're part of the crew, you're part of the family, and so that helps become more. And a lot of times if people don't have their car ready, they're like, well, I'll just take it out there and drive it, work the bugs out, then I'll go race next time.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier when we first got into this, the number of people that have told us we get involved in Sick Ward to be able to figure out, like, can it make it? Will it survive? How am I going to do with lack of sleep and all that stuff without throwing the stress of racing into it? Then apply the following year to become a competitor. Like, for example, Rick Hughes just said he was going to bring his Dart. That's a new acquisition for their family. So with Letitia's car, by next year, they may have that thing sorted enough to where, like, say, for example, if Letitia decides to come out and do it with a co-pilot, that Rick could come out and bring his car so both of them can enjoy it.
That's awesome.
So
Chuck, you're saying that's probably one of my favorite things when spectators come and talk to me about my car in the pits. Dude, I don't know how somebody wouldn't talk to him about that car. So assume he's out the fender, dude.
So the interesting thing that I brought up earlier, but I didn't touch on this. So one of the things that we did do is we did most consistent, meaning between your two runs, let's see how far off you vary.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we figured when we threw that out there that was probably going to go to somebody who was slower, like somebody who had a car that had been more ironed out, what have you.
Yeah.
Little did I know that when I started looking at the results with Tanya Turk, that I was like, okay, number 3 is like 0.003 of a second away from 2 runs. It's like, that's insane. And then Chuck Stefanski was the best. He went 4:55 twice, and it was not 4:55. And then 2 more runs later, it was 4:55. It was 4:57, 4:55, 4:55. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, because his was 0.002 with a 0. The guy behind him was 0.002 with a 2.
Oh my gosh, dude.
That's wild.
Which is why
2 10,000s. That's crazy.
Right, which is why he basically said, I won quickest 4-door, I won quickest supercharged, I'm taking my awards, I'm packing my crap and leaving. Because they basically went down the list in order. So he was packed up and gone when I called him, and he goes, did I leave something? And I'm like, well, if you want me to take your check, I'll take your check. And he's like, what did I win? And so I told him, and he's like, I could have sworn I figured somebody would get inside 2,000. So again, it's cool to be able to see that. Plus, Chuck I wouldn't think that somebody would be plucking away on that car as much as he has since he debuted it. I mean, that car's been through 2 rewires, a whole bunch of weight loss, a bunch of different changes. It's gone to a different ECU, I believe now. He's done a whole bunch of crap. So, but it's good to see that happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's run this thing for about another 9 minutes here. Let's move to 6 Summer stuff.
Okay. So 6 Summer, we talk about the fact that is a staple event. So just to give people a little bit of an idea of how far SICK has advanced since we started. When Tom first hired me in 2022, we had 1 drag and drive. That was it. He now has 6 events this year. Now, granted, 4 of them are drag and drives and 2 are standalone events, SICK at the Rock and SICK on the Green. But the fact that we're doing 4 drag and drive events in 1 year is like, okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, you've been at a couple of them that we've done that are one-offs. You know, we've talked about how great Mocan is and some of the places that we went on Route 66. The great thing about SICK Week and SICK Summer is there are established racetracks. These are the people that want to constantly keep coming. They work really well. There's a lot of great attractions and checkpoints that we can use, a lot of great routes. But Tom and Luke keep changing things up. They want to be able to show people different areas. So this year, the route will once again be a little different than it was for the previous 2 years, even though Byron Dragway is our host racetrack for the second time. So Byron Dragway, by the way, is doing a bunch of renovations. They're adding in a whole bunch of new light poles. They're adding additional lighting in the facility. They're redoing some of the pavement. Veronica has been giving me some updates. I know that they said between it being too cold and a lot of rain that they've been kind of slowed down on it a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see how the new developments change. But that's a cool racetrack nonetheless, obviously.
Yeah.
So we start there, and then in an interesting turn of events, we're going to go to Great Lakes Dragway. So we're going to go out of Illinois, where we have 2 racetracks, and we're going to go to a completely different state. We're going to go to Wisconsin. So it'll be interesting to see how the crowd does for a Tuesday, because the first year we were there on a Wednesday.
Oh, Great Lakes, those people it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Insane.
Yeah, those people call in sick that day for sure.
Yes. And they do an amazing job with that racetrack, considering what it looks like when you pull in the gate, because I think that for a lot of people, if they're used to, say, a track with a lot of pavement, and I'm not judging, but if you pull into Great Lakes, you go, okay. And then when you get around, you go, okay, tower's a little smaller, but it has a historic, homely feel to me, and I love tracks like that. They tell stories. They have history. You can see it.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see it at Great Lakes. They have, just a ton of really cool stuff around there.
Absolutely. And since the question got chimed in, SICK Summer is June 15th through the 20th this year.
Yep.
So then we go from Great Lakes Dragway on day 2, which is Tuesday. We go to Cordova Dragway, which is the OE track that was our first ever host in 2023. So we go back to Illinois. So we start and then bounce back and forth. Then day 4, we go to Tri-State Raceway in Iowa, obviously not too far away from the home of Motion Raceworks and also the host of the Havlicks Fastest Street Car Shootout tribute event in August. So that place, obviously, again, we're gonna enjoy going there and seeing what we can do. And then we get to go back to Byron on Friday to finalize things. As far as, because I think of some of the things that have been happening with some of our other events, it's going to be hard to see what is really going to materialize with Six Summer, because you touched on this earlier. I'm excited to always go up there because there are people that are tried and true about that area, and they look forward to doing that event. I want to say there is a little bit of inner confliction for some people because of us doing Michigan Miles this year, where we're going to do 5 racetracks, 1,000 miles plus Woodward Dream Cruise, all in 7 days. So I feel like there are some people that are, well, do I go to Six Summer or do I wait until August and then I do Michigan Miles? So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the performances change. Now, last year we had some pretty incredible stuff. I mean, the fight for, you and I talked about it every single day, whether you were there or not. I mean, like the 6 street race and the 275 categories were insane on how close they were the entire
day. Yeah. Even Ortiz was talking about that a minute ago. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. So I expect nothing but the same. As far as the rest goes, it's hard to say. I mean, honestly, if the weather is good, I think it could be just like when Alan Whitaker went his first 6 last year at over 200 miles an hour in the Greenie Monte Carlo. Doug Cook ran a bunch of 7.0s at over 200 miles an hour. So it's very possible that we could still see some very good runs. But to be fair, there's a lot of stuff that's happening on the Drag and Drive calendar in May and June. So we may not see everybody that we saw last year. People may have run it for a year or two and decided we're going to try something else. So, you know.
Well, and I think that's what's really cool about Drag and Drive is it gives you the opportunity to go to tracks, to bucket. It gives you a reason to go to tracks, different tracks that you've never been to, or go to new events. You know, you can do that and go see people. Yeah, Josh, Rich, you're saying June is packed with events. That's an understatement, dude. What we say, 14 events.
Is that how many it is now?
Yeah, in May and June. Yeah, it's crazy. The first weekend of June, last weekend of May, whatever, there's like 5 events that weekend. So, yeah, it's awesome, man. Bring it on, right?
Yeah, there was only like 4 days the whole month of June that didn't have an event going on.
That's crazy.
And are you? Yes, I'd be happy just to be running for the week, man. That's one reason. So the plan, Eric, tell us your plan, and then I'm going to kind of tell my plan, hopefully.
Yep. Right. So my dad is going to accompany me to Six Summer this year. It will be his first time doing a full event. We live near Byron, so Byron is our hometown track, and he has not been to any of the other tracks on Six Summer. So this will be his first time doing a full event, and he's going to see, new track. So it's going to be exciting.
Hell yeah. I love it. Really That's awesome.
Right. So the cool thing is, like, that'll give Eric somebody to drive while Eric shoots out the window rollers and gets that content. And I think it'll be fun for him and his dad to do that and hang out and spend the week together. And I'm hoping, if I can make it work, I'm hoping that I can come up for at least day 0 and day 1. With you guys going to Wisconsin, I would probably go ahead and head out, after racing's done on day 1, and head back towards the house. But man, there's just too much going on to not come up. I think it's going to be a blast. I think the folks that come out, there's going to be a ton of new folks. I would imagine, obviously we don't get the list of racers ahead of time, and it wouldn't matter if you got it anyways, because 20% don't show up day of anyways. When you're out there, it's going to be a blast. And am I misremembering maybe that the Cheap Car Challenge cars are coming back for Six Summer?
Good. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. My brain has been slightly scrambled in the last couple of weeks with everything going on. But yes, so as far as I know, the deal is every team got another $2,500 over the $7,500, and all of them are getting safety upgrades.
Yeah,
nice.
So I know Tom added his stuff up, and based on what I saw Cleetus say that everybody in his camp kind of had as far as spending went, some of them were right on that borderline of being done. So, I mean, the $2,500, I mean, that can go a long way, especially if you have a good base. Now, from what I remember, I think they said like maintenance, like say gaskets, or if you're rebuilding the engine or whatever, that doesn't come out of your whatever, it's upgrades. Tom, on the other hand, I think he didn't even have 5,000 in his deal completely. Right. So I don't even know what he's doing with his, but I think
come on, Eric.
He may change.
We need that. We need that content, man. We need to know.
This is the bad part about being in Florida. Well, the good/bad thing. The good thing about being in Florida is that I get to race year round. The bad part is I don't know what Tom Bailey is doing except for when I'm on a conference call with him 1 or 2 times a week.
Right. Yeah. Well, and y'all aren't talking about, what's the current 3rd gen project.
Yeah. Tom has way more irons in the fire now than when I met him back in 2022. I mean, the fact that one of the giveaway cars came out of his personal stash that he had for over 2 decades kind of gives me an indication of, on one hand, it's great. He wants somebody else to make memories with it and use it instead of it just collecting dust. But the other part of that is it makes me go, okay, how much stuff does he have occupying his time to be able to put together for content as well as racing? He had 3 different cars that he was racing at Rockingham.
Yeah. I see Jeremy Ortiz here talking. He said Calvin is unofficially trying to compete with them with the new Atlas powered car. That's pretty cool, man. And listen, they don't want that smoke. Calvin Nelson and them will absolutely lay it down on the budget.
Yeah,
give them $10,000, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering the Calvin's car when he brought it out this year ran in the 9s, I was going to say that should be pretty interesting if he did decide to get into it. The whole thing is that if we get more and more people that want to do that, then that brings the whole conversation eventually to the point of, do we have a class for that, and how do we police it, and what happens with the inevitable what have you. So I'll leave that.
And it's like Eric and I talked about earlier with the RV challenge. It's also time based. Like if you have 6 months to put a car together, it's not the same as on Thursday before the event having to make a decision to pull the trigger on the $5,500 car, or like Tom on the $4,500 car. If he had 6 months to shop, he could have found a car.
Right.
Yeah, you don't get to upgrade.
Yeah, he changed lanes on a Tuesday of sick week and bought a car and was there day 3. He got on Marketplace then and found one. So I think that's part of the challenge too. You need to kind of keep it in that same realm. But anyways,
I don't think you can upgrade until after you make your first pass.
Dude, that would be a fun challenge. How fun would that be?
That would be the case of where I think it would be similar to like what Mike Finnegan did, where let's have 2 passengers instead of just 1. And I hate to say it, but I think the reason for that is just so they can all kind of prop each other up when they aren't sleeping throughout the week. But luckily, he managed to not only skate through sick week relatively unfazed, but he made it through sick at the Rock too. And he told me, he goes, the car's working really great. I came out with a story about that actually today because of all 5 of his episodes dropping from sick week. He said, I've got 2 cars that I should be working on, his Cadillac and his Lexus. Both of them are going to be drag and drive cars. And he says, I can't put Blasphemy in the corner. He says, it's working. We've got the clutch figured out. It went 860, which is like the best pass he's made in that car in, I think, 6 years. So he wants to keep running it where he can. So I think we're trying to beat him into coming to sick on the green as well, just because, again, it's the kind of thing where it's close-ish house where you can do it.
Yeah. All right, Derek, we got to bounce. So give us one more thing, and then we got to go.
I mean, honestly, I would tell you that if you want to get involved in drag and drive, that again, even if you don't come to one of our events, which we would love to have you, just take a look at either the Drag Drive Repeat event calendar, or you can take a look at ours on sickthemagazine.com. Last I looked, I think we were up to 43 or 44 events this year, somewhere in that ballpark. Just get out there and at least try it. It's one of those things where I had never done anything other than pay attention to it on Hot Rod Drag Week when it was live streamed. In the last 3 years, it has enveloped me on the fact that it is something where you will meet some of the greatest people and make some of the greatest memories. And I'm not saying that because I work for Tom. I'm being genuine when I say that. So we appreciate all that you and Eric do, obviously, Mike. So thanks so much for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome,
Yeah,
guys.
thank
Again,
you.
go follow Derek Putnam. I mean, dude, daily articles almost, daily dose emails, bro. You're one of the hardest working dudes in Drag and Drive, man. We love it.
I appreciate it, boys. Hope you have a good rest of your night, and I'm sure we'll see each other sooner than later. Look forward to it.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
very soon. Couple weeks, man. We'll see each other then.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it. You guys have a good night.
All
See
right,
ya.
bye. Dude, how awesome, man. I love that guy. He's a great addition, or not addition. He's a great part of the Drag and Drive community. Just the knowledge, him and I can riff on stuff. Like literally, here's the notes that I sent him earlier today. Just so everybody knows, we just went an hour on. I said this is literally verbatim the notes. Sick at the Rock, sick on the green, sick summer, sick spit and shine.
Yeah.
That's the notes.
Yeah.
So we can
100%. It's all
awesome.
great information,
Yeah, he's super smart and as involved as anybody is in the drag and drive community, and that's what it takes for the whole system to grow. Is guys like Derek, guys like Adam, who I think is probably still on live with Travis Dieter over there on Adam's podcast, Adam Dory. That's Cool Drink. So they're live. So if you're watching this, watching both, tell us, let us know in the comments. I love it. So yeah, man, think about what is going to be in 10 years. This is going to be crazy. And, there's a lot of guys that are running at the front. I see Chris Marion here making comments as well.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to Molly Motorsports for their support. They've been on since the early days of Drag Drive Repeat. Love those guys. The whole team at Molly is awesome. And they are going to be at the circuit with a booth. So I'm pumped about having them on site, and you guys can get conversations about all of the pistons and rings and wrist pins and all the stuff that they do for 1,200 builds of 1,200 different styles of stuff that they said in the ad read there. All right, well, cool. Let's move on, man.
All right. Let's see where we're up
So
next.
we did each word. All right. Yeah, here you go. Lead us into the race repeat stuff.
All right. Everybody in here making comments. You guys know you are our race car friends. So we appreciate all of you guys. I'm telling you that cheap car challenge has got my brain spinning. You can't upgrade the car until you make your first pass. You can't bring parts with you. You got to buy them along the route. Like, I don't know. My brain is going off on a tangent. But
let's do it. I'm making that note now.
But everybody in here watching, commenting, appreciate all of you guys. You guys keep us going, when we're making notes, when I'm editing photos late at night or making videos, seeing all the comments and everything is really awesome. And of course, our sponsors, again, can't do this without those guys. Summit Racing for letting me, again, I say it all the time, but this wouldn't be possible without Summit, having my pictures on the cover of the Summit catalog. It's incredible. So Summit Racing, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performa-Built Transmission, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Again, appreciate each and every one of our sponsors. And the gentleman's agreement, we say it all the time. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow whatever it is that you're watching or listening. Make sure you follow along. We're going to continue to bring you the best content we can, updates of events, coverage from events. In return, we just ask for you to share our stuff, like, comment, help us get to that 100,000 that we're so close to.
So close.
And then Power Tube TV, obviously, we talked a little bit about them with the Pinks coming back. So again, that's going to be super awesome to see that. That's coming up June 13th and 14th at Rockingham. So if you want to go to Power Tube TV, Power Fest live, again, Rockingham, June 13th and 14th, or wait for it to come out. You can watch it on your Roku or your smart TV. Again, you can watch replays of our shows, plus a bunch of other podcasts and other car-related content. It really is the thing to watch if you don't know what to spend time watching. Jump onto Power 2 TV. There's a ton of stuff there. and WAF Racing. So we'll hit this commercial here, and then we'll keep rolling.
Have you ever wished you could fit your toolbox in the palm of your hand, or really needed that extra set of hands while making a jet change at the track? At WAF Racing, we specialize in designing and manufacturing top-tier automotive tools that are made strong to withstand travel, yet lightweight not to slow you down. Tested in-house and at the track by the team at WAF Racing, every part is made by racers for racers. From compact toolkits, carburetor top hats, or spark plug storage containers, our tools are precision engineered and manufactured in the USA. Made of the strongest materials, every piece strikes the perfect balance of durability and dependability. Maybe you need something custom just for you. We do that too. You need WAF Racing in the passenger seat for your next drag racing event. Head over to wafracing.com today to take your racing experience to the next level. WAF Racing. Design, build, race.
Man, I can't wait to hang out with Chris very, very soon. He's going to be coming to the circuit. I'm excited about that. Then we're going to be, Melissa and I'll be hanging out with him for Six Smokies.
Yeah, and I said, I don't know, last week or whatever, with Dad putting together that 307, carbureted engine, I'm definitely going to have to lean on him for some carburetor knowledge, because that ain't my expertise, and two, got to get hooked up with some tools that he's printing and get those over to Dad so he can make adjustments on his car, or stack his carburetor, or a tool tray for the top of it. I was showing him all the stuff on there, and he's like, yeah, all of it.
Yeah. Where do you need my money? wafracing.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Mary here. Say, what's up, fellas? Happy hump day. Only 54 days until day 0 of Six Summer. Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. Nick Scarju, man, I met this guy, Rocky Mountain Race Week 2021, or 2022. Awesome dude from Australia. They buy a truck over here, end up racing it. They swap the picture on the right is them swapping an engine in it the night before the event started in Texas, and then drove it up. I mean, like, talk about adventure. We talked about Cheap Car Challenge stuff. These guys lived it, man. It took him like 7 months or 18 months or something like that to even get approval. Yeah, it had to be 2022 then, because he couldn't even get approval to come to the US. He was afraid he wasn't going to be able to get back into Australia if he came over. So basically, he made a post yesterday, or April 21st, said, after last seeing the truck at Thunder Valley in Oklahoma back in 2022, the OBS Silverado that 2 Australians randomly purchased and then half-ass attempt at Race Week is finally down under. We'll see what the future holds. And then this second picture, again, is from 2022, and they swapped an engine the day before the race. So it's really cool to have, this drag and drive truck that wasn't fast at all, but he lived it here, and then now he shipped it back home to Australia, so it'll live on over there. And like we said earlier, 7 events in Australia, dude. We're gonna he's probably taking it to a drag and drive over there.
Right, dude. Could you imagine not having a car that you bought for 3 years?
No, man, no way.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
Nope. But that's probably what it takes. You know what I mean? So when these guys ship their stuff from Sweden or Australia to come over and race, that gives you an idea of what that takes to do that. And like in the window here, it says for sale 8,000. I bet it costs 8,000 to ship that truck there.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
So yeah, absolutely wild.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And then next up, we've got Dustin Cottle is upgrading turbo. So previous turbo setup went 870s. That's going to be pretty sweet. He's not leaving anything to chance with that race against Lance Walker at Circuit 2025. Obviously, we talk about it all the time. The first race at the circuit's always a big deal for us. That's how we kick off the event. We raise additional money for the charity with that first event. You'll see people betting on each other, and in the end of the day, all that money goes directly to charity. So it's going to be pretty sweet, but excited to see Dustin upgrading the turbos and see what he comes up with the new turbos.
Yeah, this whole setup here, look at the difference in turbo sizing there.
Right.
So they were probably leaning on that other one pretty hard, and this new one, maybe he wanted to lean on it as hard. And again, this truck started at 850, so is that where he's going to take it? And then, is he going to upgrade the cage? Is he going to build a new truck? He's got another love. We've had him on the show a couple different times. This will be fun to watch it go down.
Yeah, I mean, if he's already at 870s and you're upgrading turbos, I would imagine you're going to push towards the 850s.
Yeah, and knowing him, he'll be so competitive in that class. It'll be wild to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And as you can see here, the entire Taylor family is over in Sweden right now. So that's pretty cool. You can see the Street Week fuel can there or whatever off to the side. So this looks like it's some type of car show, PRI type thing. I'm not familiar with where they're at actually, but
yeah, it looked to me like it was like one of their biggest car shows in the country, and they even got to hang out with Mike Westberg, who's in this picture here, and then Dennis was showing a bunch of pictures of them traveling around and doing a bunch of local stuff there as they basically got to be tourists for a few days before I'm sure they're heading home pretty soon. Those guys stay pretty busy, but this is pretty neat. They were over there, and I think Dennis's post from last week said they were looking for cars to come back and race at Street Week.
That's what I was gonna say. That would be my thought process. Would be, can we see them doing one of the Dragon drives over there now?
Yeah, that would be cool, man. Worldwide, dude, it's taking over.
It is for sure.
Bring it on. All right. And then we talked about Howie Price. He was in here making comments earlier. He made a post about the wagon the other day. So he said, "Happy Easter, everyone. The old pig did some work this weekend. Right now, it's the only vehicle we have with a hitch or an 8-foot bed." He said the trip across the border didn't go so well. I hear, at 68%, it doesn't like the tires very much after 20 feet. And then I ran across some 91 octane stuff. He said, "Jeremy, thank you so much, buddy. My driver didn't even want to see what that level up haul tech programmed in was going to do. Time to change tires, get a little more data before dyno day and testing at the track. And then please pray for Performa-Built Transmissions 4L60. So this car loaded down, laid those two black marks on a roll. That wasn't like stationary burnout and then let out. That was on a roll. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's always good. I'm excited to see that thing at Six Summer too.
Yep, and with Ryan, like you said last week, he's coming to hang out with them that week, so that's going to be really cool. And look at the interior on this thing now, man. It's all business.
Yeah, I know they're not too far from me. I need to probably need to get a hold of them and do some kind of visit and go check out their place.
Oh yeah, that'd be a ton of fun. They'd be awesome to hang out with. They're awesome to hang out with at the track, of course, during events. But yeah, go from nitrous to twin turbos. This car is going to be an animal. They were looking for, I think they were looking for 10s last time, right? I think they ran like 11.0s into it with the 1098 or something. If Howie's in here, he'll tell us as we get through here.
Yeah. Well, and that leads us right into our next section, which I guess first thanks to WAF for being a sponsor, and that segment was by WAF Racing. But now we're going to jump into Performa-Built, which obviously we were just talking about with the Price's car. So, and we had Ryan on last week, obviously talking about transmissions and stuff, gave us some sloppy tips for 4L80s and stuff. So that was pretty cool. If you didn't check that out, make sure you go back and check out last week's episode. Performa-Built is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performa-Built Transmissions, the goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performa-Built doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate any OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That's why at Performa-Built, they say their transmissions aren't just built, they are Performa-Built.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of transmissions, this one is not going to be an automatic. This next deal here, and I don't know how we missed this, and I may have seen it and just didn't catch it. But back in December, Blaine Stark posted, "Who's ready for the Coyote? Ready to get this thing backed up with a Liberty Gears transmission and a bunch of Motion Raceworks part." that didn't really like raise a red flag to me, right? Like
Right.
it's literally these two pictures. That doesn't tell me anything, right? It's the next thing that I'm surprised I missed, but it was a picture of the blue Mustang, which they raced at Rocky Mountain 2023, I think. They posted the picture of the blue Mustang with the Coyote in the engine bay, and then with the thing, Coyote motor plate mounted. And he says, "I'm super happy with how these turned out. Made a mount that if the motor can slide back into the dowels without struggling to get it lined up, might have to put a couple gussets in the brace, but overall should be strong." I mean, those guys, Precision Designs is like next level building stuff, and
Right.
Blaine is like so smart. So this works well, but I didn't catch this. So that's two posts about coyotes that I didn't catch. Okay, are you sensing a theme here? And then April 15th, he posts, which is, I mean, it's a week ago, right? So I haven't seen the first two, didn't see this one until today. He said he posted April 15th. Last week, we cut the stock front stub off the blue Mustang to gain some room for an oil tank and a fuel tank. We replaced the front stub with a Team Z Motorsports kit, which is super easy to install. Last night, I finished remounting the radiator, and look how nice that thing looks. I'm telling you. And looking forward to get the engine back in and the motor plate remounted along with the turbos and intercooler. So, of course, when I see this come up, I'm like, wait, am I a dumbass? Did I miss this? And so, of course, dude, scroll down through, I don't know, 20 or 30 posts looking for when I would have seen that. And I guess I just didn't because I didn't like any of the posts before that. So, didn't see
Facebook
that.
said, no,
Yeah.
we're not showing this to you.
Do not show this to Mike Narks. So of course I messaged Blaine. Blaine's like, yes, we're building it. I said, man, is it going to be, because like with this level of parts, is it going to be a race car only, or is it going to be a street car? He said, we don't build nothing but street cars that are fast. So I said, okay, that makes sense. So I had also messaged Tom to ask same thing, the dad, and he said same thing. He said, man, this is going to be a fun, super fast car, and this car is going to move out. So they sent some more photos I'm going to be putting together. But look at this thing, dude. Twin turbo Coyote and a Fox body Mustang with a 750 cage.
Yeah. Okay. I see you.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. This
You know,
thing's going to be rowdy.
you know what that's missing though, right?
Oh, it definitely needs more air in the front, especially with the radiator laying down like that.
Yeah, buddy. Needs
Yeah.
needs one of those trim rings on the front of it.
Yeah, that is for sure. I'm sure we can get that worked out with those guys. This is it's gonna be cool, man. It's awesome to see Blaine, them building a car because he's also building his 56, and Precision Designs. Tom owns that, and they build like high end cars there. So those guys are super super busy. So super cool to see this coming out, and it's in their home garage. They're building it at the house. So Blaine will do stuff at Precision Designs, then come home and put it to work on this. And I'm sure people will remember. There he is, right there. Yeah,
Yep.
I have that in the next slide here, sir. Blaine Sargent here making comments. So, yeah, I'm excited. And people will remember. Man, and Blaine, tell us. You made a video. You were making a mounting plate to mount up like the Liberty Gears trans and stuff. And I guess I just never put together that was going to be going into this car. So super cool. I was watching. You can see how much of the video I watched there. I'm about 3 minutes in.
Yeah, it's super clean looking. Like if you
Yeah.
scroll back to those pictures you just had, like
Yep.
everything looks real nice. Like it's being very well put together.
Yep.
Honestly,
And
some good work.
oh yeah, and the most recent picture, I'm sure Blaine probably made this bracket here on the right, and he was talking about mounting gussets and stuff for the turbo mounting flanges and things like that. Like that Blaine is going to be that next level. Everybody always wonders about the next generation and how that stuff does. Crazy. Oh wow, he says the cage will be certed to 6.0, dude.
Yeah, he ain't messing around.
Yeah, that is for sure. So this car is going to be awesome to see out and about, and this will be added to our list of cars that we're going to be following, watching build updates on, asking the owners about updates, things like that as we go through the next few months. That's really becoming a big part of what we do. You know what I mean? We're trying to find those stories. We're trying to get those and get you guys that content that's out there. This is a fun one to watch right here, though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's a great color too.
Oh yeah, yeah, super cool car. And they end up like having to tear apart Mac's car at I think it was 23. They ended up tearing her car apart to get this car to go down the final day and make the end of the week. Like I just didn't have time to put all the notes together for all of that. But this car is going to be really, really fast.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, lead us into this last part, man. It's our last feature of the night.
Yep, Matt Donovan in Garbage That Barfed has begun damage assessment from 6 weeks violent wheelie, which you can see there in the picture. That's up there a little bit.
That's a big one. That's a big wheelie.
His post on Facebook says, "We are just getting around to taking garbage apart from the damage done at Sick Week and ... What a mess.
Yeah.
We have everything under control, but found things we never thought were hurt. Pictures are 1,000 words," which, again, you can see some of the pictures here for the podcast listeners. You'll have to jump over to YouTube or Facebook and rewatch the video. But yeah, you can see that right there. That is not level anymore.
Yeah, no, there shouldn't be that big of a gap in that thing.
Nope.
And then what's crazy is we were hanging out. Oh, I don't remember who I was hanging out with in the parking lot that night, and he pulled in. Oh man, I can't remember. But he still drove it. He still drove it the route and finished the week. Pretty crazy stuff, man. I mean, look at the drive shaft, look at the steering arm, like look at the gap difference on the steering arm. I bet that thing drove like just a hammered mess.
Yeah, as a photographer, love wheelies. As a racer, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, not especially when you have an axle like this on the front.
Right.
These were not made to come down violently.
Yeah. I don't know that my car will ever do a wheelie, but I have wheelie skis like to protect the oil pan just in case that were ever to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll wheelie at some point. It is a Fox body Mustang, so that it will get all the traction it needs.
Yeah, to me that's insurance. Those were cheap parts to add to maybe save an oil pan or more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. See Johnny Allen in here making comments. All right, sir. Well, again, thanks to Performability, Ryan and the team. So Ryan and I actually had a conversation on Monday about him coming on once a month. So we're going to figure out which week consistently would work for him each month, like whether it be the first Wednesday, third Wednesday, whatever of the month. That way we can have him on, because having him on once every 3 or 4 or 6 months isn't enough. He has so much knowledge within the transmission stuff that it works. And of course, this last time he tells us how to keep a 4L80 alive up to like 1,000 horsepower for $500. So kind of important, those kind of tips. He also has just a ton of knowledge on how to keep 4L60s alive, which would be great stuff for people. And of course, Howie Price and them run his level 5, black level 5 4L60 in this, 5,500 pound beast that now has twin turbos. And obviously we saw earlier, we'll do burnouts with full weight. So can't wait for this thing come out this year.
Yep, and obviously he's rebuilt the transmission on the live stream. You and I have talked with him about, rebuilding a transmission in person or something. I've got a TH400 completely stock sitting around. There's tons of stuff I think we could do with Ryan that would be super cool.
Yep. Yeah, I agree completely. All right, sir, lead us out, man.
All right. Once again, we had a great night tonight. Thank you for all the comments, everybody in here chatting, talking with Derek, talking, drag and drive with us. So you guys are our race car friends, and we can't do it without you. And we also can't do it without our sponsors. Again, Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, WAF Racing, Performabuilt Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Guys, if you guys are out looking for parts or anything like that, please check out these people first. Obviously, they're supporting us, and we want you to support them. All right. With that, we will see everybody on Saturday morning.
Yep. See you guys. Sweet.